Hey friend, Jen here. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. We're going to be doing a 30-minute full body workout. We're going to cover your entire body. I'm going to be right here alongside you, guiding you through the entire workout, doing it with you. A couple things before we get started. You're going to want to make sure you have some shoes. You're going to want your water close by. I'm going to be giving you breaks. And for equipment today, we're going to be using one set of dumbbells, moderate weight, nothing too crazy, and a resistance band. So make sure you have those things. But let's jump right into it. So to start us off, we're going to jump right into our warm-up. We're going to be doing 3 mobility drills, exercises to get us warmed up. We're going to be doing each for 45 seconds with a 10 seconds transition time, and we're going to go through these three times total. Follow me for the first round. You'll learn the exercises as I go, and then for the second and third round, you'll be rocking it. You'll be set on your own. I'm going to go ahead and start that timer. The first thing we're going to start with is inchworms with high knees. So we're going to come to the end of our mat, bending through the knees. We're coming all the way down to a high plank position. Chin is tucked, everything is neutral. Bringing one knee up as far as you can go. If you can't go all the way, that's fine. Alternating to the other side and crawling it back up. Core stays tight throughout the entire motion. This should be a nice stretch to the back of the legs. Starts to get the hips working a little bit more. We want core to stay nice and tight as we go. Remember, this is just the warm-up, so we don't need to go too crazy at the start. Keep on going. Focusing on your breath here. This is really where we can set that intention for the session today. Good, take 10 seconds, and then we are moving on to hip rocks. So legs are gonna come wider than shoulder width apart. Toes are facing forward. We're gonna shift our weight back through the hips, leaning forward. You can come a little bit wider if you need to, rocking from one side to the other, okay? If you find you don't have the flexibility here, you can always grab a weight or two and use that to assist you a little bit better. Just feel like a nice stretch on the inside of the thighs, maybe towards the back. Notice that my back is staying quite flat. We're trying not to round it out too much. Nice and easy. Okay, this should become quite a fluid motion, rocking back and forth. Good. Nicely done. Come on up, nice and gentle. How are we feeling? Starting to warm up a little bit here. For our last warm-up exercise before we start back at the top, we are going to use a resistance band. So you're going to want to come fairly wide here. It doesn't need to be overly tight with the resistance band. You're going to come up overhead and around. Now, if you have tight shoulders, a tight chest, you might get to this point and you're like, whoa, that's as far as I can go. And that is totally fine. Go as far as it works for you. But what we don't want to see is your arms trying to get over. We want them to stay relatively straight, shoulders relaxed as you do this. So only go as far as makes sense for you. Okay, these are our 3 warm-up exercises. So now after this one, we're gonna start back at the top with those inchworms and knee highs, and we're gonna go through each 2 more times. Doing good, guys. Oh, I hit the roof. Alrighty, take a little breather, 10 seconds. We don't have a ton of time. And then we are going into our inchworms with our high knees. All right, guys, in 3, 2, 1, bending through the legs, bringing it out to high plank. One leg comes up, one leg comes up. Again, if you can't go that far, that is totally fine. Just go as far as it makes sense. If that's here, but that's really pushing it, that's totally fine. This is a great one that you can measure progress from week to week as you continue to do it. Does it get easier? Do you have a little bit more mobility? What does that look like? One leg up. Good, shake that off, and then we're doing our hip rocks. I'm gonna straighten out my mat here, and we're right into our hip rocks. Legs fairly wide. 3, 2, and 1. Down, bending through the knee, getting a nice stretch through that side, and then alternating sides. Keep it going. Should be feeling a little bit warm by this point. That's what we want. Keep it up, guys. Remember, the intention here is through the hip. We are not bending through the knee, so pressing forward, we're trying to sink back into that hip and then switch sides. Good. Good. Shake that out. And then we are moving on to our around the worlds or our shoulder rounds, whatever you want to call them, with our resistance band. So nice and loose, doesn't need to be overly tight. Feet shoulder width apart, coming up and around as far as it makes sense for you. I don't want you to push it here to the point that you feel like you're in pain. If you just don't have that mobility yet, that's okay. Should be feeling some nice warmth around the shoulders. Because we're doing full body, we want to make sure that all of our areas are ready to go. From, our ankle joints all the way to our shoulder joints. Nice and slow. Again, if you can't go that far, you just stop where you can and take it back to the start. Okay, take a few seconds here. We've got one last round for our warm-up, and then we're getting into the goods for today. Okay, stick with me here. We're doing great, starting with our inchworms to our high knees. Last time here, let's go. High plank, nice and neutral, head is neutral. We bring up the leg, we get a nice stretch. We switch sides. Bending through the knees, bringing it back. Keep it going. Core nice and tight through this. It's going to support every single exercise you do today. Good. Bringing it back. Moving on to our hip rocks. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty warm already. Legs nice and wide. Pivoting through the hips. Hips come back. If you need a slight bend in the knees, that's also fine. Going from one side to the other. Here's a great opportunity to just check where your feet are. We don't want them to be splayed out. We want them to be nice and straight. Remember, this motion is happening firstly through the hip, secondly through the knee, and then the ankle is just an accessory, but we want to make sure that everything's in its proper alignment. Keep it up, guys. Good. Come out of that nice and easy. Shake it out. We got one last exercise for our warm-up, and then we are moving on. I'll give you a chance to grab some water after that. Let's finish strong with these rounds, these shoulder rounds. Nice and wide, relaxing through that shoulder as you pull around. Good. Core nice and strong through here. We want to really make sure that our ribs aren't poking out just for us to get over. We want to be nice and aligned in that position as we go around. The only movement that should really be happening here is through that shoulder. Keep it up. Good. Shake that out. Nicely done. How you feeling? Are you feeling warm, ready to go? Grab a drink of water if you need it. So what we're going to start with is a 5-minute AMRAP. And when I say AMRAP, all that is it's standing for as many rounds as possible. So you are going to do as many rounds as possible of the 3 exercises that I give you for 5 minutes total. Now this is important because I'm not going to be counting for you. It's important that you count your exercises. You are going to do 10 reps of every exercise that I show you. Okay, so you're going to do 10 reps of the first exercise, second, third, and then you're starting right back at the top, and we're trying to complete as many of those as we can within 5 minutes. So there's a little bit of accountability on your part. You need to be counting and keeping track of how many rounds you do. I'm going to go ahead and show you the exercises first, and then I'm going to start the timer, and we're going to get right into it together, getting as many rounds as we can within 5 minutes. And when I say AMRAPs, I caution this as well. Yes, there is a little bit of a competitive nature to do as many rounds as you can, but I want you to make sure that you're doing as many good rounds as you can. First exercise that we'll be doing here when we start our AMRAP is we're going to start at the top of our mat, facing away. We're going to do a reverse lunge, shoulder press. So the shoulder press happens at the bottom of the lunge. Okay, you're going to be doing 10 of those, and keep in mind that every reverse lunge counts as one. So if you do 1, 2, 3. Make sense? Okay, the second one you're going to do is you'll grab one weight, and don't worry if you forget these, I'll be doing them with you, but I just want to show you beforehand. Feet are going to be wider than shoulder width apart, toes facing outward, knees are going to follow. You're going to come out, press forward. Okay? Out, press forward. This is a plie squat with a forward push. Okay? Then the last one you're going to do, you'll set your weights aside, and you're going to be doing a jumping jack with a narrow squat. So legs come together, we squat down. Make sense? Those are our 3 exercises, 10 reps each. Alrighty guys, I'm gonna start the timer. We are doing a 5-minute AMRAP. Keep your water close by, starting with those reverse lunge to shoulder press. Alrighty guys, you can get your weights, get into place here. Weights are gonna start at the shoulders. Remember, you gotta count your reps, okay? Here we go. Reverse lunge, shoulder press. That is our first exercise, doing 10 total. So this would be 3 because each leg counts as 1. 4. Make sense? Good. Keep it up. You're gonna want to pick a weight that feels good, but keep in mind that this is a little bit more endurance based. I think I have one left. See, look at accountability on my part. Here we go. Next exercise, if you need that reminder, legs slightly wider than shoulder width apart, toes out, knees follow in line. We are doing a plie squat. So legs come out, forward push. This is 4 for me. I'll just show you from the side too. Knees are following in line with toes, and we're just pushing out. Keep it going. Remember, you have permission to take breaks within this 5 minutes as you need to. Last one, if you need reminding, is that jumping jack to narrow squat. Good. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling that burn. Take breathers if you need to, guys. Remember, I'm going to be kind of doing a moderate pace, moderate tempo, somewhere in between. You can feel free to go a little quicker if you want, or a little slower. Reverse lunge, shoulder press. Focus on your breath. You can always slow it down if you need to. You know, if the shoulder press is too tough, And you can always just do reverse lunges with the weight on your shoulders. All right, guys, we're about at the 2-minute mark. Past halfway already. That second one, plie squat, shoulder press. What about now, like me, you might be feeling yourself breathing a little heavier. Just focus on that breath. Focus on slowing it down if you need to. One last one for myself. And if you're already there, I'm joining you. We're doing those jumping jack Sonero squats. Nice and low. Woo-wee! Keep going, guys. We've got less than a minute. Do your best here, wherever you're at. Then we'll get a nice breather before we move on. Core nice and tight. Remember, we want as many good rounds as possible. Keep going. Almost there. Ooh! That's our 5-minute mark. Good job, guys. Check in with yourself. How was that? Was it really challenging? Not too bad. How many rounds did you get in? Alrighty. Catch your breath. Take a breather. I'm going to give you a couple seconds here. Then we're going to move into our second one, which is more upper body. I'm feeling alongside you guys. I'm right here with you. You are not alone in this. And I'm having such a good old time that my mat keeps moving. All right, give yourself a little bit more time here. While you catch your breath, I'm gonna show you what's next. We don't have to dive right into it, but it's gonna be the same. So we're doing a 5-minute AMRAP again, as many rounds as possible, as many good rounds as possible in 5 minutes, focusing on our upper body. Again, you are focusing on 10 reps at a time with each exercise, okay? The first one you're gonna do, you're gonna wanna come down to your mat. You're gonna want the weights in either side, okay? You're gonna start in a chest press position. So elbows are gonna be about 90 degrees directly out to your sides, okay? Palms face outwards, we're not facing inwards, palms face outward. You are going to do a chest press. You are then going to switch the grip to be palms facing in, slight bend in the elbows. You're gonna reach overhead. You're gonna bring it back up, switch the grip, chest press. So you are alternating between those two for 10 reps, okay? Keep in mind that each one is 1. So 1, switch the grip, 2. Okay, make sense there? For the second exercise, we will put our weights down. We're gonna grab our resistance bands. This is probably one of my favorite tricep exercises. You're gonna be palm flat on the resistance band. So you're gonna pick one side. Knees are gonna be shoulder width apart, back is nice and flat, head neutral. We're gonna grab that resistance band, come to 90 degrees at the elbow, and then we're gonna extend out. You should feel this all in the back of the arm. Okay, keep in mind you are going to do 10 reps per side for that one. So you do all 10 on one side, you switch over to the other side, do all 10 before moving on to your next exercise. The third exercise you'll do for those 10 reps within our AMRAP is gonna be feet shoulder width apart, toes forward, palms facing out, bicep curl. Okay, notice that shoulders stay nice and flat, core nice and tight as we pull. We're not, swinging, okay? Sound good, guys? I'll be right here with you. If you forget what we're doing, don't you worry, I got you covered. Let me get this timer going. You should be feeling ready to go. We are starting on the ground, you guys, for our chest press to alternating overhead raise. Remember, you keep track of your reps so that you can move on accordingly. Chest press, palms face in, overhead. This is now 3, 4, good, 5. Keep in mind, I'm not bending my elbows. Elbows only have a slight bend and we are moving through the shoulder. Keep it going. Good, moving on to our tricep kickbacks with the resistance band. Flipping on over. One palm is flat on the resistance band, the other one is holding. Back stays nice and flat, we're not arching, just nice and neutral. Head looking down, elbow at 90, pressing out. Nice and controlled with our resistance band. We don't want it to be swinging us back. Good, flipping sides. And the beauty of a resistance band is you can make it as tough or as easy as you need it to be. So you just adjust the amount of tension between the two arms. Woohoo, feeling good. We're moving on to our bicep curl. Feet shoulder width apart, palms facing out, shoulders nice and relaxed, curling up. Nice and controlled on the way down. Checking in with yourself here. How you doing? I am so proud of you for being here. Good, once you make it through, you are starting right back at the top with our chest press to overhead raise. Get down however makes sense for you. Take all the time you need. Chest press, switching the grip, overhead. Good. Switching over. Wherever you're at, whether you've passed me, that's totally fine. Whether you're a little bit behind, you are welcome just as you are, and I want you to meet yourself wherever you're at. Big squeeze through the back of that arm. Switching sides. Back stays nice and flat. Check where your pelvis is at. Are you arching? Are you rounding? Find that sweet spot in between. Remember, we're not looking at our knees because that makes us round. We're just looking directly straight. Switching gears to that bicep curl. Look guys, we've got less than a minute now. So wherever you're at, I want you to bring some intention there. Keep it up. Look, we got 30 seconds here, so I'm gonna try and get just a couple of my chest press to overhead. If you're ready to be done, that's fine too. Core nice and tight as you do this. Woohoo! Good job, guys. You are done your second 5-minute AMRAP. How are you feeling right now? Was that tough? Was that easier than the first round? Check in with yourself. Take a breather, catch your breath, grab a drink. Totally fine. Okay, we are moving into our last little bit for today, and then we are stretching out, guys. This is really good. For the next one we're gonna do, I wanna do a bit of a form check here first before we get into the exercise. And the reason being is this is an exercise that a lot of people aren't aware usually that they're not doing it correctly, and even if you're an absolute pro at it, it's still good to check in at times to make sure that you have the correct form and to revisit that often. So it's going to be a stiff-legged deadlift to an upright row. Now, a couple things. We're going to do that form check. I'm going to give you a little bit of an analogy to help you with that, or a little bit of an exercise, and then we're going to do a 6-minute EMOM. So what that means is it's every minute on the minute. You are going to do 6 reps in each EMOM, and I'll walk you through this, but basically what that looks like is you do 6 reps at the top of the minute, so you use as much time as you need to do those 6 reps, and then you rest for the remaining amount of time. So say it only takes you 30 seconds to do 6 reps, you then get to rest for 30 seconds, okay? But what I want to really stress here is that we're focusing on an eccentric movement, meaning we're going slower on the way down, so it doesn't need to be rushed through. If you have a little less rest, you're not going to be feeling overly exhausted here. Okay, now before we get into it, I want to do this form check. So we're not going to even touch the weights just yet. What I want you to do is come onto your mat. Feet are going to be shoulder width apart. So we're looking at our feet. Toes are forward. They're not super wide. They're not super narrow. They're right about shoulder width, okay? Toes facing forward. We're then going to soften our knees. So you know the feeling of when your knees are locked. We want them to be pretty soft here. The next thing you are going to do, take your palms and you're going to put them on your legs, okay? And again, if you're an absolute pro at this exercise, all good, but stick with me here. It's just a good check. Palms are going to be on the legs, shoulders back here. Now, as we do this little exercise, I want you to be conscious of keeping those shoulders back. All right, your hands are now glued to your thighs. You can't take them off, okay? They're gonna stay right there. But what I want you to do is slide them down towards your knees, but without rounding those shoulders, okay? So what we're gonna do, shoulders back, palms are on our legs, we're sliding them down. So really the only movement we can do here without rounding our back is to push our hips back. Now notice, shoulder blades are still staying back, hips are providing the movement here, right? Because we're not rounding to reach. Our shoulders have to stay back. So start at the top, slide yourself down, push those hips back. That's the only thing that's going to allow for this movement with a flat back. Okay, once you get to about, knee level or just below, I want you to check in with yourself here. So do you still have a soft bend in the knees? We don't want to be locked out here. Soft bend in the knees, hips are back, back is nice and flat. So are you rounding? Or are you arching a little bit here? And when I say arch, we're not going crazy, but we're definitely not rounded out. We're somewhere in between. This is the position we want for our stiff-legged deadlift. So I only want you to go as far as your back is maintained in this position. Okay, so as we do the exercise, I want you to think about this. When you get to the bottom, so somewhere just below the knees, you're gonna stand up the exact same way, and then we are gonna add an upright row. So you're gonna be bringing elbows up, and I don't have weights here, but you will eventually have weights. So imagine if you had some kind of bucket or something like that. You are lifting through the elbows, not through the wrists, through the elbows, okay? So we're gonna combine those two movements. Again, we are doing 6 reps, and it's gonna be a 6-minute EMOM. I want you to keep that form in mind that I just went over with you guys. That's what we wanna maintain, and when I say we're doing eccentric, I really want you to go as slow as we just did in that exercise. So same thing, our hands are almost glued to our legs, hips are moving back, we're going nice and slow on the lower. We can stand up at a normal pace, upright row, okay? Sliding nice and low, nice and slow, squeezing through the glutes, upright row. Okay, I'll show you on the angle so you can get both. Sliding down, back stays nice and flat. We're feeling a nice stretch through the back of the legs. Standing up, upright row. Keep it going, guys. Remember, you can go as slow as you want here. You're gonna have rest. Good, that was my 6th one. We're at about 5:18, meaning you have about, for myself, I have about 15 seconds of rest, okay? So you kind of get the way this is going. When we get to the top of that minute again, we are going to start again. Here, there we go. So we're at the top of our minute going for another 6 reps. Nice and slow, back stays nice and flat, lifting through the glutes, upright row. Keep it up. You can see from the side. Head stays nice and neutral, so we're not looking up at the bottom. Just chin stays nice and tucked. Good, that was my 6, so I've got about 20 seconds reps. 20 seconds rest. You can grab some water if you need it, but then we are moving on to our next round at the top of the minute. Keep it going, guys. You are doing great. This is the end of it, guys. We just got to get through this. And I don't want you to dismiss this because it feels easy. I really want you to focus on that form. And hey, if you've got great form and you've been doing this for ages, you can up that weight a little bit. Really get that eccentric benefit. And if I'm saying eccentric and you have not a clue what I'm talking about, eccentric describes the lowering phase of a movement. So for example, if you were doing a bicep curl, the eccentric part would be when you open up, and the concentric would be when you actually do the curl. Good, that's my 6. I got about 15 seconds. I was a little slower that time. That's okay. We're doing good here, guys. We're about halfway now. Almost there. I don't know about you, but after those 5-minute AMRAPs, this feels pretty good. Again, focusing on that form. We're sliding those hands down the legs. And the only thing that allows us to keep our back flat is moving through the hips. Knees have a soft bend. Elbows stay nice and high. We're not lifting through the wrists. You might want to check yourself a little bit on that. Good, that was my 6. 23 seconds. Guys, maybe I'm counting crazy. Nonetheless, count for yourself so you know you're on track. Keep going. We have 2 more rounds and then we're stretching out. Think about last time. What felt like you could tweak it a little bit? Where could you put a little bit more intention? I'm going to be thinking about my shoulders more. My back stays nice and neutral. I protect my back, and the only thing that's working is those hamstrings. I think I did too many. No, I'm still going. Keep going. This lady is losing track. Okay, I think that was 6. Keep it going, guys. We're doing great. 6 reps, 6-minute EMOM. We have one last round here in about 12 seconds. Take the breather if you need it. If you're still going, that's totally okay as well. Feet shoulder width apart. Okay guys, this is our last round before we stretch out. Let's make it really good here. Remember, hips aren't bending too much, but they are pushing back. So this isn't a squat. We still want a little bit of length through that hamstring. So hips still stay high a little bit, but they are being pushed back versus our knees doing the movement. Our knees really just stay slightly bent the whole time, and the motion comes through the hips. Back stays nice and flat, shoulders back. Core nice and tight here. Lifting up. Good. That's my 6. Take a breather. Woo! You made it through the exercise today, guys. Awesome job. Now don't turn me off just yet, because we are going to stretch out. Grab a drink if you need it. How you feeling? Have you ever approached a stiff-legged deadlift like that? Maybe there was something you learned. Maybe there was something you tweaked. That's the beauty of learning and growing. We constantly adapt, we constantly make changes, and that's okay. Alrighty, we're gonna start with a quad stretch. So you're gonna shift your weight to one side, soft bend in that knee, which we should be really familiar with by now, lifting up the one leg. I'm against a wall, so I can hold on there if I need to, but if you need like a chair or something, by all means go ahead and grab one. Should feel a nice stretch across the front of the leg. Good, switch sides. How'd that feel today? How you doing? Okay, one leg comes out, straight, back leg is bent, pushing those hips back, reaching forward. You should feel this across the entire back of that leg into the calf. What are you proud of today? What did you do really well at? You know, if you're really feeling like that was challenging and you didn't have any fun, what can you take away from it? What's one thing you can celebrate? Maybe making it to the end of it? Maybe showing up even if you didn't want to? Those are all things worth celebrating. If you haven't already, switch sides. Good, we're gonna come towards the ground. Now we're gonna do a glute stretch. So you're gonna cross the glute and the knee up and across. Back leg comes straight, stretching out that glute. You should feel yourself starting to come down a little bit here. If you haven't already, you can go ahead and switch sides. Make sure that back leg, I'm just checking my leg, isn't too splayed. If you're ever really enjoying a stretch or it's feeling really good, you can always pause the video, spend a little bit more time there. Good. And you're gonna stand on up. 2 last stretches here. We're gonna be across for our shoulder stretch. Good, go ahead, switch sides. Feeling a nice stretch across that shoulder. Good, and last one, overhead. Should feel a nice stretch across the back. Remember, we're not opening up the rib cage, we're staying nice and tucked in. Good, switch sides. Good. Shake that out. Awesome job today, guys. I'm so proud of you for sticking with me. That was a tough one. It had a lot of different things in it. So awesome job today. If you're liking these workouts and I want more of them, please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel just so I know. I hope you have a fabulous day and I'll see you in the next one.